Hey guys, so today we're going to talk about intensity. We are here again in my apartment. So as a child, I found myself feeling like I was too intense, too powerful, had too much energy for others. Felt like maybe I got too excited or I had too much loudness to my voice or I had too much desire to speak about the deep things of life. I would make things that aren't deep, deep. I found myself being a child and desiring conversations that have nothing to do with the weather, have nothing to do with day to day things or what Miss Calhoun had to say today about the bad kid in class. I wanted to talk about the deep topics. I wanted to talk about the things that are important and deep, really important to me. And that's an interesting thing. I found myself sort of isolated because I felt like I couldn't have the conversations that I really wanted to. And if I could have those conversations, I would have to talk about the weather to initially get to that point. But the intensity that I would bring when it came to those deep topics would draw people to an extent. It would cause people to be interested, cause people to feel like I have something to offer. And I think largely that came from having a relationship with my mom and her teaching many things about the things of God, her assuming that I had a level of maturity that allowed her to be able to reveal things about life that I might not have at a normal person's age wouldn't have been ready for at that age. So she recognized something unique and different about me that has a desire for the deeper things and has a desire to actually talk about the deeper things rather than talk about what the weather was like and complain about how it's going to be raining, things of that nature. I think those things are trivial, surface, but they are important to an extent when it comes to building something to start from. So I saw myself like as this kid that wanted to talk about the real stuff in life, wanted to talk about life rather than talk about trivial things like the weather. And me being in that position caused me to feel a level of isolation due to feeling like I'm too much and too intense. But see how that's like wrong? If you find the people that are meant for you, the people that are in your tribe that actually suit you in a sense, you'll see that you're a lot like other people. They say like the problems that you feel like that you have in life that are very personal to you. You feel like, oh, I've never met anyone who's ever gone through this. I don't know anyone who has went through anything in my situation. Those are often the problems that are the most universal. You just haven't met your tribe. And that's a real thing. And that's what's powerful about the internet now is that we're seeing that as the internet progresses, in a sense, we're farther from each other because it's all via internet, but we're really closer. We have essentially built many communities online. Those communities often don't have a physical meeting place, but now the community online has built itself on its own. It used to be communities would rely primarily on forums like Reddit, where you can post something and people can respond and chat back and forth, things like that. So that was like a forums, things like that. Those forums, those Cura, the Cura question and answer, where people can basically have a conversation about something that they are wondering about concerning life. And those spaces seem like they were done away as the internet became more and more popular. But now we realize how powerful the comments are, how powerful those back and forth conversations are, those sending the gifts within the comments are. Like that's a normal thing. Like now, many people watch the video, they enjoy the video, but they want to know what the comments said because the comments oftentimes highlight and amplify how funny the things in the video were. You might not have even noticed anything in the video that someone else noticed. So you go to the comments to see like, hey, I never noticed that. And then you go back to the video and the video is even more funnier, even more fulfilling. So it's interesting how like that community has developed itself. You can be an intense person. You could be a person that kind of just wants to talk about surface things. And that's not wrong in and of itself. Just find the people that fit with your tribe. But this is an interesting thing as well. If you are so focused on finding your tribe, people that are in your niche, that like to do what you do, maybe you miss out on the adding that other people that have different opinions, different feelings about things, different ways of being, the people that like to talk about the surface things, maybe you miss out on their different experiences, their different communication, their different vibe by not wanting to actually engage with them. So that's a different mindset. You could say, hey, I feel very intense. I feel isolated. I want to meet people that are intense like me. Cool. And you should. But I'll also say that you should make a habit of meeting people that also have a different perspective than you. People that don't operate on the same standards, the same principles, the same ideals. Being able to have a conversation with them, a reasonable conversation, even if it means disagreement, if it means like you guys leave with no extra information, no extra understanding that's like added to each other, you kind of just don't agree. And that's often the place that we find ourselves in as Christians. We find ourselves in conversations, especially now in this time, where we feel that we are the outsider. We are the ones that have fallen for the trick of Christianity. We have fallen for it because celebrities have now mocked Christianity to such a high point. It's gotten out of control. And the way that celebrities, the media, society has made Christianity look, it makes it look foolish in a sense. It makes it look like you're foolish if you have continued to believe that. See what I'm saying? So often the conversations that you find yourself in is, well, you don't know about this. What about this? What about this? What about this? But the problem is, as a Christian, is you realize that like most of understanding with God means having the faith that his thoughts are higher than yours, and he knows things that you don't know, and he can protect you from things that you're not able to protect yourself, controlling the controllables. So I can control my own faith, and I can control what I understand about the Bible. So when people come and ask questions, I can give that answer. I can have an answer, just like the Bible says, for each Christian I have. But at the same time, we have an understanding that knowing everything is not actually the goal. The goal is to know him, right? So the goal is to bring people into an understanding about the Spirit of God, more so than knowing everything down to the details. I would even go on to say that the specific details of Noah and whether it happened or not matters less than the story and the meaning behind the story of Noah. Now, I, as a Christian, believes the Bible. So I believe that Noah occurred. But when you reading the story, if you're reading it and you're so focused on whether it happened or not, but you're not actually seeing that everyone on earth was unrighteous and did not believe the man that knew what could save them. That is a powerful thing. Let's think about that. The fact that Noah told people and they did not believe, told them a flood's coming and they did not believe. The fact that his family had faith. And I'm sure they had moments where their faith was tried, where they felt like, why are we doing this? Why is my dad doing this? Maybe they felt embarrassment. There's no way to really know for sure. Maybe they felt isolated, ostracized. They felt weird and different. They felt like what being that peculiar people is. Being a Christian is being a peculiar person. And that means not fitting in, but fitting out and standing out and being as your father is holy, set apart. Not in the same way, but set apart from this world, in the world, not of it. And that's a powerful thing. So when you think about the story of Noah and how no one believed him, no one, not even one, his family, but nobody. That's a crazy thing. What does that mean? That means that they saw truth and did not recognize it in their face. That's a crazy thing. Isn't that scary? That should be a scary thing and a scary realization for all of us to notice that we can see truth, hear truth, even feel the Spirit of God on us and deny truth, not accept truth, reject truth. It's just like the man that's on the boat and his boat is sinking and he's at the point where he's on a small piece of the boat and he knows that God will save him. He has so much belief. God will save me. God will save me, right? A large boat flies by. There's several people on it and they say, "Hey, do you need help? I could throw you a life jacket and I could pull you in." He says, "No, no, 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 no. It's okay. God will save me." So that's the first time. The second time, all of a sudden, one of those huge sailboats comes by with the huge drape that directs the path of the boat, right? Comes by. The guy steering the boat says, "Hey, buddy, you need some help?" He's like, "Yeah, here, I'll throw you this life raft. Grab on it and I'll pull you in." He says, "No, no, 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 no. It's fine. It's okay. God will save me." He's like, "Are you sure? You're okay?" He says, "No, no, 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 no. I got it. God will save me." And then for the third time, someone else comes and the same thing happens. Isn't that tragic? But that's how we live our entire lives, missing the ball. We talk about keep your eye on the ball. How do we know it when we see it? Would you know the Spirit of God when you see it in another person? Recognizing. We often have an easy time recognizing demonic spirits, negative spirit. Oh, I don't like that energy. That was not good energy. We do really good at that, but do we recognize truth? We often know like what my truth is. I'm very like keen to what my truth is, but do I know the truth? We talk so much nowadays about like no, like find your truth. Like what is your truth? And stand in your truth. So the people that are standing and saying, "I was assigned this birth, this gender at birth, but I was not supposed to be that. That's my truth." What is the truth? The truth to me is that God does not make mistakes. I used to have a shirt as a kid that said, "God don't make no mistakes." Isn't that so real? And the crazy thing about the LGBT community is that they have pushed strong self-acceptance, but the self-acceptance is being confused with self-deception. The devil is using the fact that you desire to know who you are and you're trying to find your way through this world to throw in little seeds. He throws in little seeds in your mind that grow. They start off as, I've never done that before. I wasn't successful doing this. I wasn't successful being a man. I wonder why no females like me as a man. I was never able to talk really well as a man or as a female. I wasn't able to let my confidence out. I wasn't successful being this. So let me try this. Oh, it's easier to be this. But what do we find? We say fake it till we make it. It's easier to lie to yourself than it is to tell the truth often. And we often find the lie more attractive than the truth. So we have to think about, like, is that acceptance if you are denying what you've been given, who you truly are? You've been given a body. It has certain tools. You're born with certain biological abilities, and you're negating those by saying, I should not be this. I should be something else. You're accepting the lie. You're accepting the deception. And what people nowadays are so hung up on is not being deceived by Christianity, by religion. Well, I think that's great. But the interesting thing is the pendulum swing of us moving away from Christian values, Christian beliefs, is that you're deceived thinking that there was actually something wrong with the belief in God and following Christ in and of itself. And you got turned away from really religion and you paired it up with God, the Bible, and following Christ, when those are two separate things. Religion, God, the Bible, following Christ, the Holy Trinity, the Holy Spirit, totally different things. Religion is a structure that's meant to control you. But what you get wrong is God does not mean to control you. That's why he gave you free will. He means to set you free from the spirit of deception that has told you that you're not supposed to be a male, but you're supposed to be something else. He's trying to deliver you from the sin of pornography and masturbation that tells you you're not worth being with a person in marriage, in safety, in peace, in love. That tells you that that person isn't valuable enough to actually respect, to even marry and be in a true relationship with. They aren't as valuable. They're only as valuable as what I need in the moment. It's all the same. It's a deception that God wants to deliver you from. It's a sin that God doesn't want you to be bound by. Because when you're bound by sin, your identity gets fragmented, gets taken apart, pulled away. Sin was never supposed to be in the body of a human. He never meant it for us. But the devil meant it for us. And that's why he has us in so much deception. He leads us into deception, into saying little white lies, knowing that that's just a way that the door opens so that the other sin can enter in. So the 7 times 7 sin, the spirits can enter in and then bring something else. And then he brings people that want to send around you. And then you have to deal with that. And we know, the world knows, that the average of the 5 people you hang out with. So if 4 people are doing a sin, you're probably the 5th person. And that's real. I'm not saying this because I'm perfect. I'm saying this because it's truth. And this is something that we should all be able to take in, truth. Even when it hurts, it does. I myself have struggled with pornography, with masturbation. Now realizing that it removes me from the moment. It removes me from connection. It isolates me. And it takes my eye off of purpose. It just puts my eye on what I need to fulfill right now in this body, right now in this moment. If we were to say that a human being is just the physical needs that it has, that would be terrible, isn't it? Wouldn't it? Because what would make you different than an animal? An animal needs to eat, and its instincts lead it to eat. Animal needs to drink. Animals reproduce, and they all do it by instinct. But what separates us is conscious thought, conscious choice, not these instincts, these indicators. You must begin to see emotions, cravings, desires as indicators of something, not something that you should fully invest into. Because think about this. When you die, and this is all conditional whether you believe in the Bible. I'll say that. But when you die, what dies? Those desires to want to eat, the desire to want to have sex and fulfill the pleasure of the body. That's what dies. And if you say that that's who you are and that dies, then we're losing all of humanity. We might as well be an animal. I'm just being real. We might as well be an animal. Because if you're saying that, like, I can be bound by my physical body that tells me to eat, my physical body that tells me I've got to have sex. I've got to do this instinctual thing. If it's okay to be bound by that, then it's okay to just be that, which is what an animal is. An animal will fight to get the food that it needs as best as it can. An animal can't fast and say, hey, I'm going to not eat. The only way it doesn't eat is if food is not available, if it never finds food. But we have the ability to have conscious choice and say, I will not eat today. I will not eat in this moment. I'm not going to eat this bad thing. I can choose to not fulfill that desire, that craving. If today I want pickles and chocolate together, I can say, no, I'm not going to do that, even though I'm craving it. But craving is an instinctual bodily thing. And I would say you are not limited by that body. We started talking about intensity and how finding your tribe is important, but also at the same time, finding people that differ from what you think. And I would say the reason why that's important is so that you can test the strength and structure of your belief, but also your own faith, because there's a difference. Like I may talk to someone who doesn't agree with what I believe in, right? Let's say I believe in the Bible, and they don't agree with that, and they're challenging me with questions, with things that I don't even know. If I'm brought to a state of anxiety in their face, even though I don't have all the answers, right? I don't have all the answers, and that's probably why I'm feeling that anxiety. If I'm brought to a place of anxiety, that means part of me fears that I might not be right about what I believe in God. That's something to think about. If you fear that you might not be right in the face of someone else because they've got all these questions and you have no answers for any of those questions, how much you have to do a lot of evaluation and wonder, like, how much do you actually believe in this? And are you following this because the people around you have followed this and you've never encountered someone who has a differing opinion? And that's why I say it's important to be able to have those conversations with people who have differing opinions, because you get to see where you struggle. I believe that when you're in the face of someone who disagrees with you, if you truly believe what you believe, whether you have all the answers or not, you should be able to be okay with not having all the answers, but knowing that it's something that you know within yourself. I've experienced that a lot. I know a lot about the Bible, but there's a lot I don't know. So I have conversations and people challenge my ideals, challenge my thoughts concerning God, concerning Christ. And oftentimes I find that they have done so well at disproving that I have to increase my ability to prove. They have done so well at finding loopholes and ways around, to me, truth, that they run circles around my arguments. But even then, I'm not within fear because their ability to run circles around truth means nothing if I actually believe it is truth. So God bless you guys. I hope this was a real blessing to you guys. I think that it went the route that God wanted it to go. Talking about Noah. Like I said, all these videos are completely off the cuff. So I am allowing whatever God to bring forth to come forth. I pick a random word and go from there. So I'm glad to be able to make high quality videos. Got little things in the background. I'm really, really blessed. So I'm really thankful for all of that. With that being said, have a great day.